Welcome to the Bitter Upper Lip. My name is Tyler. Thank you very much for joining me again. And today we're doing a very special review for a number of reasons. One, I'm happy to share with you all that as of today, I am officially done with law school and I have a law degree. So, over here in the States, if you're in Europe or elsewhere, that means I have a JD, which is a Juris Doctor, which means another next couple months I can make myself become even more miserable as I start studying for the bar exam to try to become a full-fledged lawyer here in the state of Georgia. But it's been 3 years of hard work. It's why I've been absent for the last couple days. I've been making sure my finals are finishing up and getting all my graduation papers in order. So we're going big today, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, for the celebratory nature of what I got myself through and into for the past 3 years, but also of the beer that we're doing. So, if you obviously seen the title, today we are going to kick off with the one and only, the infamous Canadian Breakfast Stout from Founders Brewing Company out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. This is the 2019 release of CBS Canadian Breakfast Stout, and poetically enough, this is, at least as Founders is saying, the last batch that they are ever going to do. Essentially, they're vaulting it for a long time. So, CBS and I have a very interesting relationship, I guess. I would say most beer hunters in the States would attest to that. The beer first came out in 2010. I remember when the hubbub about it was coming out, about it being bottled. It was something that Founders made. To my knowledge, I think it was like a tap room exclusive. It was something they made now and then, but when Founders announced that they were actually going to bottle it and release it, it was a huge, huge deal back in the day. In 2010, I could not get my hands on it, but my great, great friend, who he's still one of my most cherished friends, Nick Moss, fellow beer hunter, he got his hands on 2 bottles and he gave one to me. So the last time I had CBS was literally in the winter of 2010, and here we are, and this is going to be only my second time drinking, and poetically enough, this will be potentially the last time that I'm going to drink it. So, getting out of law school and sharing it with y'all, I figured there's probably no better beer that we could do this with. I've had this for a couple months. I think this was released in also, I think November was the official release, but we were able to find this in December of last year. I've just been holding on to it for something very special, so here we are today. But this being the 2019 edition, there are different vintages with different numbers. This particular one has an ABV of 11.3. Its IBUs are at 45. And for those of you who haven't read the title card, essentially what it is Founders Breakfast Stout, which is a big, delicious stout that's made with various coffees, some of which are Sumatran coffees and chocolate notes. Then what they do is they age this beer in bourbon barrels that have also been used to flavor infuse maple syrup, specifically maple syrup from Michigan. So this is a full-on Michigan beer in a lot of ways. So again, this is a very rare treat. Literally, when I'm done with this review, I'm taking this bottle into the next room and I'm going to go have it with my folks, which is why I'm doing this location shoot. So without further ado, let's get this into a glass. Give it a go. Yeah, it's already pouring like tar. All right. This bottle's been sitting out of the fridge for about a good 15 minutes or so, by the way. So head coming out, some big bubbles, but in general, very, very tight bubbles. The head is a very, very deep khaki brown. Belies the depth of this type of beer and what's in it. Putting it up here to this lamp, I can't see any kind of light coming through it. It's as black as a ninja's hood. Dark as a starless night. There's nothing coming through it. Yeah, it's looking the part. Let's go ahead and get a whiff on it. Yeah, so Big bourbon notes right off the nose. I'm getting that very expected vanilla, caramely toffee smell. Very pleasant wood character coming off of it again from the barrel aging. There is a certain kind of earthy sweetness that's also coming through with that. I do definitely think that is some of the bourbon coming through, but I am getting some coffee also on the nose. A little bit of chocolate as well. I feel like I'm going to probably get more as this warms up, but the bourbon notes are the big thing coming through. I am also getting some of that maple smell. So if you've ever had like a big plate of waffles and you've dumped maple syrup over it, there's kind of that very sweet, earthy smell also coming from it. Wow. Yeah. All right. Everyone, let's go and get some lips on it. We've waited long enough. Cheers. That is a flavor worth the hype. Absolutely. Man. So, from the tongue, the nose belied a much higher preview of a bourbon flavor. On the front of the tongue, it's not as boozy as the nose would let you think it's going to be. There's a very rich, bitter sweetness coming on too. Um, it is a very yeah. So I'm definitely getting much more of the maple at the front of the tongue than the bourbon notes that I would initially expect it would, but definitely getting a lot of coffee in the middle of the tongue. A little bit of chocolate. I'd say I'm getting more coffee though than the chocolate. Yeah. Mouthfeel is perfect for it. Absolutely feels like I've got liquid velvet in my mouth. I would liken it as best to like a just a deep, rich, tanniny wine that you might be drinking. Enough carbonation to feel it's lively, doesn't feel flat. Nice long finish on it. I'm getting much more of the chocolate on the finish than I am getting coffee or anything else. 11.3, I'm not really getting any kind of booziness out of it either. There is some of that weight, but there's no burn to it whatsoever. There's nothing on the nose. Yeah. The bourbon is playing beautifully in pairing with the maple syrup. Because whereas I'm getting the maple syrup, I'm also getting a lot of other, like a burnt sugar, a little bit of a toffee note to it, but much more like burnt sugar like you get from like a creme brulee or like a dulce de leche, something like that. Has a very long finish. This is probably one of the longest finishes on a beer that I've had in a long time. Yeah. Real back end of the finish with the chocolate. Whereas I'm getting much more of the coffee toward the front and the middle of the tongue. The back of the tongue is much more cocoa and actually getting some what I would say malt bitterness going on. It doesn't have a coffee bitterness to it. It definitely has that kind of roasty, toasty, not burned, but close to that level of kind of bitterness going on, which man, just it balances so well with that initial sweetness you're getting from kind of that caramely, bourbony maple flavor on the front, and then the back is this bittering kind of finish that's going on. So I've said it once and I'll say it again, specifically with any kind of barrel aged beer, very much so with bourbon. To me, balance is probably one of my highest contenders for how well crafted the beer is. I want the beer to taste like the beer is standing on its own, with the bourbon barrels accenting the flavors and the aroma without anyone doing too much. This is a beautiful example of it. Is a perfect marriage of breakfast stout itself, which I've had many, many times, while being accentuated by the maple and the bourbon all together, and nothing is playing out itself too loud. It's not like the drummer in the band thinking he's doing a solo while the guitarist and everyone else is trying to sing. Like, this is a fine-tuned symphony, if you will. Everyone doing their part. I hate to say it, like with reviews like this, I get it. Like, I feel there will almost be like a patronizing sense that I'm talking how delicious and heavenly this is, and you can't get it anymore. Um, I'm doing this review right now on May 9th, and this was released in November. So if you happen to come across a bottle on eBay or some secret keg somewhere, yeah, absolutely, positively go check this out if you can. In the comments section below, please share with me any experiences you've had with Canadian Breakfast Stout, any other of Founders beers. I'd love to hear it. But yeah, everyone, thank you very much for joining me with this. I'm very happy I could share this with you. Hopefully we'll get back on a better filming schedule now that I've got law school done with and I can move on to other things. But if you liked this video, please leave me a thumbs up. And if you want to keep hearing me gab about beer in the future, go ahead and subscribe. But I'm going to go take this and share this with mom and dad and let them savor the flavor with me. And until next time, everyone, keep your mind sharp, your heart clean, and your upper lip bitter. We'll see you then.